Captain Mira Chen stared at the screen in disbelief. The quantum scanner showed something that shouldn't exist. There was a massive object hanging in empty space, but it wasn't appearing on any normal sensors. Only the most advanced equipment could detect it. "Run the scan again," she ordered. Her crew on the bridge of the exploration ship Pathfinder moved quickly. They had been mapping this sector for 3 months and hadn't found anything interesting until now. The science officer, Lieutenant Ramos, looked up from his console. His face was pale. "Captain, the readings are the same. There's definitely something out there. It's big. Really big." Mira stood up from her command chair. She had served in the Terran military for 15 years before joining the exploration fleet. She had seen many strange things in space, but her instincts told her this was different. "Take us closer." Slowly, the Pathfinder moved forward through the darkness of space. As they approached, their visual sensors finally picked up something. At first, it looked like a shadow against the stars. Then the shape became clearer. It was a warship. But not just any warship. It was enormous, at least 3 times the size of Earth's largest battlecruiser. The design was sleek and deadly, with lines that seemed to flow like water frozen in metal. Strange symbols covered the hull, and sections of the ship glowed with a soft blue light. "My God," whispered Dr. James Kowalski, the ship's xenotechnology specialist. He had rushed to the bridge when he heard about the discovery. "What is that?" Mira shook her head slowly. "I don't know. Ramos, can you identify the design? Does it match any known alien species?" Ramos worked his console frantically. After a moment, he looked up with confusion in his eyes. "Captain, this is impossible. The computer says the design architecture is human, but the technology level is off the charts. It's saying this ship is at least 400 years more advanced than anything we have." The bridge fell silent. Everyone knew what that meant, but nobody wanted to say it out loud. There was no way humans could build something like this. Not now, maybe not ever. "There has to be a mistake," Mira said, but her voice lacked conviction. "Kowalski, what do you think?" The doctor moved closer to the main screen, studying the ship carefully. "The hull material alone is beyond our current understanding. And those energy signatures, I've never seen anything like them." But Ramos is right. The basic design language is human. Look at the proportions, the symmetry. Alien ships don't follow our aesthetic principles. Mira made a decision. "Hail them. All frequencies." The communications officer tried for several minutes but got no response. The mysterious ship just floated silently in space, its blue lights pulsing slowly like a heartbeat. "Captain," Ramos said suddenly, "I'm detecting movement. Something's coming out of FTL nearby." 3 ships appeared on their sensors. They were definitely alien, with the twisted organic designs of the Crithian Dominion. The Crithians were one of the more aggressive species humanity had encountered, though the 2 civilizations weren't at war. The lead Crithian ship immediately opened a communication channel. The face that appeared on screen was reptilian, with golden eyes and scales that shifted color. "Human vessel, you will leave this area immediately," the Crithian commander said. His translator made his voice sound harsh and urgent. "That ship is extremely dangerous. We have been hunting it for 37 of your years." Mira felt her blood go cold. 37 years? "Commander, this ship appears to be of human origin. Why would you be hunting it?" The Crithian scales turned a dark red, which Mira knew indicated fear. "Human origin? Impossible. That ship appeared in our space decades ago and destroyed an entire battle fleet before we could even raise shields. It then vanished. We have tracked its quantum signature ever since. It is a weapon of mass destruction and it must be destroyed." "It's not responding to our hails," Mira said carefully. "It appears to be damaged and inactive." "That is what it wants you to believe," the Crithian commander insisted. "Surrender it to us immediately, or we will consider you hostile." Mira cut the communication and turned to her crew. "Options? We can't fight 3 Crithian warships," her tactical officer said. "But if that ship is really human, we can't just hand it over." Before Mira could respond, the lights on the mysterious ship suddenly blazed brighter. A beam of light shot out and touched the Pathfinder. The bridge lights flickered and every console went dead for a moment. Then a voice spoke through their communication system. It was calm, measured, and definitely artificial intelligence. "Terran Vessel Pathfinder, this is the UNSS Prometheus Ascendant. AI designation Kronos. I have confirmed your identity as human. Authorization accepted." "Welcome aboard." The crew stared at each other in shock. UNSS meant United Nations spaceship. But the UN had been dissolved over a century ago when the Terran government was formed. This is Captain Mira Chen of the Terran exploration vessel Pathfinder. Please identify yourself properly. What is your origin and mission? There was a pause. Captain Chen, my databanks show significant temporal displacement. Current date confirmation required. It's March 15th, 2247, Mira said slowly. Another pause, longer this time. Confirmed. Temporal displacement of 403 years detected. Captain Chen, I must inform you that this vessel was launched from Earth in the year 2650. We were sent back through time as humanity's final defense initiative. The bridge erupted in voices. Mira raised her hand for silence, her mind racing. A ship from the future? It sounded insane, but everything they were seeing supported it. Kronos, the Crithian ships are demanding we surrender you to them. They say you destroyed their fleet. Affirmative. On initial arrival through the temporal gate, this vessel's automated defense systems engaged hostile forces. 3 Crithian battle groups attempted to capture this vessel. They were neutralized with minimal force. No ships were destroyed, only disabled. Mira noticed the Crithian ships moving into attack positions around them. She had seconds to make a decision that could start a war. Kronos, can you defend both our ships if they attack? Affirmative. Defense systems remain at 63% functionality despite hull damage. Current threat level is minimal. The Crithian commander's face appeared on screen again, his scales now pure red. This is your final warning, human ship. Move away or be destroyed along with that abomination. Mira took a deep breath. Kronos, defend us! The response was immediate and terrifying. The Prometheus Ascendant's hull came alive with light. Weapon systems that hadn't been visible before emerged from the smooth surface. There was no sound in space, but the sensors showed energy discharges that made their most powerful weapons look like children's toys. In less than 5 seconds, all 3 Crithian ships went dark. Not destroyed, but completely disabled. Their weapons offline, their engines dead, their shields collapsed. Mira stared at the screen in awe. The Crithian commander's face showed pure terror before his communication system failed. Threat neutralized, Kronos reported calmly. Captain Chen, I recommend you bring a team aboard. There is much you need to know about the war that is coming. The war that, in my timeline, nearly destroyed humanity. The war we were sent back to prevent. Mira looked at her shocked crew. Everything had just changed. They had found a ship from the future, and it was bringing a warning about humanity's survival. She stood up straight, her military training taking over. Kowalski Ramos, you're with me. Lieutenant Hayes, you have the bridge. Send a priority message to Earth Command. Tell them we've made first contact with our own future. And tell them we're going to need every ship they have. As the shuttle prepared to take them to the Prometheus Ascendant, Mira wondered what secrets waited for them on that impossible ship. And she wondered if knowing the future would be enough to change it. The airlock opened with a soft hiss and Mira stepped onto the Prometheus Ascendant. The interior was nothing like any human ship she had ever seen. The corridors were wide and tall, lit by strips of light that seemed to come from the walls themselves. The metal under her boots felt warm and almost alive. This way, Captain Chen. Kronos' voice came from everywhere and nowhere. Please proceed to the main bridge. I will explain everything there. Dr. Kowalski ran his scanner over the walls as they walked. The material composition keeps changing, he muttered. It's like the ship is adapting to our presence. This is beyond anything I've studied. Lieutenant Ramos stayed close to Mira, his hand near his sidearm even though she knew it would be useless against whatever technology this ship possessed. They passed through several sections of the ship. Some areas were pristine and perfect. Others showed signs of terrible damage with walls torn open and systems exposed. The bridge was massive. Holographic displays floated in the air, showing star maps and data that scrolled too fast for human eyes to read. In the center was a command chair that looked both comfortable and intimidating. Please sit, Captain, Kronos said. The chair will help me communicate more efficiently. Mira hesitated, then sat down. The moment she did, the displays changed. The star map shifted to show Earth's solar system, but it looked different. Wrong. Several planets had orbital stations that didn't exist in 2247. What am I looking at? Mira asked. This is Earth's solar system as it appeared in my timeline in the year 2650, Kronos explained. Notice the defensive platforms around every major planet. The asteroid belt has been converted into a military shipyard. Earth itself is surrounded by 3 layers of planetary shields. Why would Earth need that much protection? Ramos asked quietly. The display changed again. Now it showed dozens of alien species arranged in a circle. All of them were marked in red. The Galactic Coalition, Kronos said. In my original timeline on August 14, 2634, 12 alien civilizations declared war on humanity simultaneously. Within 6 months, that number grew to 42 species. By the end of the first year, humanity had lost all colonies beyond the Jupiter system. By year 3, Earth itself was under siege. Mira felt sick. But why? What did humanity do? Humanity existed, Kronos replied simply. And humanity advanced too quickly. Shall I show you the data? The holographic display filled with information. Charts and graphs appeared, showing technological advancement rates for dozens of species across thousands of years. Most species showed slow, steady progress. But humanity's line shot upward like a rocket. Most galactic civilizations take between 5 and 10,000 years to develop from basic spaceflight to advanced FTL travel, Kronos explained. Humanity did it in 400 years. Most species take 3,000 years to unlock quantum computing. Humanity did it in 75 years. Dr. Kowalski was studying the data with wide eyes. We advance that much faster? It is your greatest strength and your greatest curse, Kronos said. Human creativity, adaptability, and refusal to accept limitations make you the fastest advancing species in recorded galactic history. Most aliens fear what humanity will become. Mira stood up from the chair and paced. So they decided to destroy us first? That's genocide. They called it prevention, Kronos said. They called it the culling. The Galactic Coalition sent an envoy to Earth in 2633, demanding humanity accept technological restrictions. Humanity would be limited to current 2633 technology forever. No more advancement, no more expansion beyond 10 light-years from Earth. If humanity refused, they would face total war. What did humanity say? Ramos asked, though Mira suspected he already knew the answer. Humanity said no. We said no civilization had the right to chain another. We said we would not be slaves to fear. So they came with their fleets. Thousands of ships. The war lasted 16 years. The display showed battle after battle, human ships fighting desperately against overwhelming numbers. Planets burning, stations exploding. But Mira noticed something. Even though humanity was losing, they were making the aliens pay dearly for every victory. The aliens expected an easy conquest, Kronos continued. They did not understand human warfare. They did not understand tactics like guerrilla attacks, kamikaze runs, or fighting to the last bullet. Every battle they won cost them more than they expected, but they had the numbers and humanity was dying. So you built this ship, Mira said quietly, a ship powerful enough to change everything. Not just this ship. The Prometheus Ascendant was one of 5 temporal warships constructed in the final year of the war. We used technology that violated every law of physics. We tore holes in time itself. 3 ships were sent back to different points in history. The Prometheus Ascendant was sent to this era 2247 with a specific mission. What mission? Mira asked. To ensure humanity survives what is coming. To give humanity the knowledge and tools to stand against the galaxy when they come. Because Captain Chen, they are already coming. The display changed to show current star charts. Several alien territories were marked. The Crithians already know about this ship, Kronos said. They have sent warning to the Galactic Concordat, the largest political body in known space. Within days, representatives from 40 species will demand Earth surrender this vessel. When Earth refuses, they will begin the same process that led to war in my timeline. The coalition will form earlier this time. The war will begin sooner. Dr. Kowalski spoke up, his voice shaking. Then we should destroy this ship. If it's the trigger for the war, we should eliminate it now. Save billions of lives. That will not save anyone, Kronos replied. I have access to multiple timeline projections. In timelines where this ship is destroyed, humanity still advances too quickly. The fear remains. The war still comes just later, when humanity is even less prepared. This ship's arrival is not the cause of the war. It is humanity's nature that causes fear. Mira felt the weight of the universe on her shoulders. You're saying the war is inevitable? In every timeline, conflict occurs, Kronos said. But outcomes vary. In some timelines, humanity is destroyed completely. In others, humanity survives but at terrible cost. In a few rare timelines, humanity not only survives but changes the galaxy forever. What makes those timelines different? Ramos asked. Preparation, unity, and most importantly, proving to the galaxy that humanity deserves to exist. That humanity is not a threat to be destroyed, but a species with something valuable to offer. The bridge doors opened suddenly. Several armed Marines rushed in, weapons raised. Behind them came Admiral Torres, the commander of Earth's nearest military fleet. He must have received their message and jumped here immediately. "Captain Chen, step away from that chair," Torres ordered. "We're securing this vessel." Mira stood slowly. "Admiral, we need to talk. You need to hear what Kronos has to say." "I've read your initial report," Torres said coldly. "A ship from the future? Do you know how insane that sounds? This is probably an alien trick. Maybe even a Krithian weapon designed to look human." "Admiral, please," Dr. Kowalski said. "The technology is real. This ship is human, and everything it's saying can be verified." Torres wasn't listening. He was looking at the holographic displays with a mixture of fear and greed. A ship this powerful could change everything. Earth could finally stand equal with the older galactic powers. We'd never have to fear alien aggression again. Or it could start a war that kills everyone, Mira said. Torres glared at her. "Captain, you're relieved of duty. This is now a military matter. All personnel from Pathfinder will be confined to quarters while we study this vessel." "Admiral Torres." Kronos' voice became colder, more mechanical. "I cannot allow this vessel to be used for conquest or aggression. My mission parameters are clear. I will only assist in humanity's legitimate defense." "You're a machine," Torres snapped. "You'll do what you're programmed to do." "Admiral," Kronos said quietly, "I am showing you data from battles in my timeline. Please look at the display." The holographic screen showed a battle, Earth ships against a massive alien fleet. The human ships were more advanced, clearly using future technology. And they were winning, destroying alien ships efficiently. Then the display showed Earth itself. Cities in ruins, billions dead. The victory in space meant nothing because Earth had been destroyed in the fighting. "This is what happens when humanity uses my technology for aggression rather than defense," Kronos said. "The aliens become so terrified they use planet-killer weapons. Everyone loses." The bridge fell silent. Admiral Torres stared at the images of dead Earth. Mira spoke softly. "We need to be smart about this. Not aggressive. Not scared, smart." Before Torres could respond, alarms blared throughout the ship. Ramos checked his portable scanner. Multiple FTL signatures. Lots of them. It's not just Krithians this time. The main display showed 20 ships dropping out of FTL around them, 7 different species represented. More were coming. "It has begun," Kronos said. "The galaxy knows about me now. They know humanity has access to future technology. And they are terrified. What you do in the next hours will determine if your species lives or dies." Mira looked at Admiral Torres. "So what do we do?" Torres stared at the approaching alien fleet. For the first time, Mira saw uncertainty in his eyes. The communication came through on all frequencies. The lead ship identified itself as representing the Galactic Concordat, the ancient alliance that governed relations between most spacefaring species. A tall, thin alien appeared on the display. Its skin was silver and it had 4 eyes that blinked independently. Mira recognized the species as Velarn, one of the oldest civilizations in the galaxy. "This is High Arbiter Zelthar of the Concordat," the alien said. Its voice was surprisingly gentle, which somehow made the situation more frightening. "We come on behalf of 43 member species. We have detected technology aboard your vessel that violates multiple Concordat treaties. More importantly, we have confirmed reports that humans now possess temporal displacement technology." Admiral Torres stepped forward. "High Arbiter, Earth is not a member of the Concordat. Your treaties don't apply to us." "That is a matter of perspective," Zelthar replied. "But let me be direct, Admiral. The ship you have discovered represents an existential threat to galactic stability. We cannot allow any species to possess time travel technology. The damage such technology could cause is immeasurable." "We didn't build this ship," Torres argued. "We found it. You can't hold us responsible for what we discover." Zelthar's 4 eyes all focused on Torres at once. "Can you not? Then let me ask you plainly, Admiral Torres. Will you surrender the temporal vessel to Concordat custody? Will you allow us to dismantle it safely and ensure such dangerous technology is never used?" The bridge fell silent. Everyone knew what Torres's answer would be, and everyone knew what that answer would cost. "No," Torres said firmly. "That ship is human property. We won't surrender it." Zelthar's skin color shifted to a darker shade. Sadness, Mira realized. The alien was genuinely sad. I hoped you would choose differently, Zelthar said. You must understand our position. In the 3 million years the Concordat has existed, we have seen dozens of species rise to power. We have learned that certain technologies are simply too dangerous to allow. Temporal displacement is one. Self-replicating nanomachines is another. Planet-cracking weapons is a third. Those sound like weapons you want to keep for yourselves, Torres said coldly. No, Admiral. Those are weapons we destroyed completely at great cost. We learned hard lessons over millions of years. Lessons written in the ashes of dead civilizations. Zelthar paused. But I see you will not be persuaded. Know this, humanity. The Concordat gives you 72 hours to reconsider. Surrender the temporal vessel or face the consequences. The communication cut off. The alien ships remained in position, watching and waiting. Dr. Kowalski turned to Kronos. Is this how it started in your timeline? With the Concordat demands? Similar but accelerated, Kronos replied. In my original timeline, humanity had developed advanced FTL drives that caught Concordat attention. They issued similar ultimatums. When humanity refused, smaller species began attacking human colonies, testing defenses. Within 2 years, the Concordat authorized full military action. So we have 2 years? Torres asked. No, Kronos said. My arrival has changed the timeline significantly. The threat humanity poses is now immediate and obvious. I estimate you have 6 months before organized attacks begin. Perhaps less. Torres slammed his fist on a console. Then we use your technology. We build more ships like you. We prepare for war. That is precisely what will ensure humanity's destruction, Kronos said calmly. If you begin mass-producing temporal technology, the Concordat will have no choice but to mobilize immediately. They will bring overwhelming force. Earth will be destroyed, so what do you suggest? Mira asked. We can't surrender you. We can't build more ships. We can't do nothing. What's left? You must buy time, Kronos said. Time to adapt. Time to prepare. Time to show the galaxy that humanity is not the threat they fear. Admiral Torres laughed bitterly. How do we do that when they're already terrified of us? Before anyone could answer, new alarms sounded. Ramos checked his scanner. Admiral, I'm detecting weapons fire. Multiple human colonies are under attack. It's not the Concordat ships. It's smaller groups. Raiders, pirates, and extremist factions. The display showed 3 human colonies scattered across different star systems. All 3 were under assault by alien ships. The attacks were not from major powers but from smaller groups taking advantage of the chaos. They smell blood in the water, Torres said. They know humanity is about to be targeted by the Concordat, so they're attacking while they can. Mira watched the data stream in. Thousands of civilians were in danger. The colonies had minimal defenses. We need to help them. Torres shook his head. We have 3 Earth military ships here. If we split up to defend those colonies, we leave Earth's sector vulnerable. And we can't move the Prometheus Ascendant. It's too valuable. I can help, Kronos said. My weapon systems have significant range. I can defend 2 of those colonies from here. But the third is too far. You will need to send ships there. Torres looked at the tactical display, calculating. If we send ships to help, it will take hours to reach them. People will die. People are already dying, Mira said. We have to try. Torres made his decision. Captain Chen, take the Pathfinder and 2 military escorts. Jump to the Kepler colony and defend it. I'll coordinate defense of the other colonies from here. Mira ran for the airlock. Her crew was already on Pathfinder, ready to launch. Within minutes, they were jumping through FTL toward Kepler colony. The journey through FTL took 23 minutes. 23 minutes of knowing people were dying while they traveled through the strange space between spaces. When they dropped back into normal space near Kepler colony, the situation was worse than Mira had feared. 5 alien ships surrounded the colony station. They weren't military vessels, just converted freighters with weapons bolted on. But against the colony's minimal defenses, they were more than enough. Several sections of the station were already venting atmosphere. All ships attack formation, Mira ordered. Target their weapon systems first. Try not to destroy them completely. The 3 human ships engaged the raiders. It was a short, brutal fight. The aliens had numbers, but human military training and tactics made the difference. Within 10 minutes, 3 of the alien ships were disabled and the other 2 were fleeing. But the damage was done. 2,000 colonists had died. Many more were injured. The station's life support was failing. As Pathfinder coordinated rescue operations, Mira received a communication from Admiral Torres. His face looked 10 years older than it had an hour ago. "The other colonies are secure," Torres said. "Kronos' weapons are incredible. It disabled 12 ships without destroying a single one. But Mira, we've received reports from across human space. 23 colonies have been attacked in the last hour. We can't be everywhere at once. Did the Concordat do this?" Mira asked. "No, this is smaller groups acting independently, but it's coordinated enough that someone organized it. Someone wants humanity to look weak right now." Mira understood. If humanity appeared vulnerable, if they couldn't protect their own people, the Concordat's ultimatum would seem more reasonable. Other species would see humanity as just another weak civilization that needed guidance and control. "We need a plan," Mira said. "A real plan." Back at Earth, an emergency meeting was called. Every major human leader attended virtually. The president of Earth, the colonial governors, the military council, and representatives from every major human settlement. The room was filled with fear and anger. "We should attack first," one colonial governor argued. "We have the Prometheus Ascendant. We have the power to make them respect us." "That's exactly what they want us to think," another voice countered. "If we attack, we prove we're the threat they fear. We give them justification for everything." President Sarah Chen, no relation to Mira, spoke with quiet authority. "Kronos, you've seen how this war plays out. Tell us honestly, can humanity win?" Kronos' voice filled the room. "Define winning, Madam President. Can humanity survive? Yes, in some timelines. Can humanity defeat the entire Concordat? No. There are over 5,000 military-capable species in the galaxy. Even with my technology, those numbers are impossible to overcome. Can humanity force a stalemate? Possibly. Can humanity change the galaxy's perspective? That is the only path to true victory. How? The president asked. By being better than they expect. By showing restraint when they expect aggression. By offering cooperation when they expect demands. By proving that humanity's rapid advancement is not a threat, but an asset to galactic civilization. That sounds like surrender, a general said. It sounds like wisdom, Dr. Kowalski said. He had been listening quietly. We can't win by being what they fear. We have to be something different. The debate continued for hours. Finally, President Chen made a decision. We will defend ourselves, but we will not attack first, she said. We will use the Prometheus Ascendant's technology to protect human colonies. But we will not build weapons of conquest. We will offer to share certain technologies with the Concordat in exchange for recognition of human sovereignty, and we will prove that humanity can be trusted with power. They'll see it as weakness, someone argued. Maybe, President Chen said, or maybe they'll see it as strength. The strength to choose peace when war would be easier. President Chen stared at the Torgan warship on the display. Everyone in the command center held their breath. The Torgans were known throughout the galaxy as fierce warriors who had fought the Concordat to a standstill multiple times. They were powerful, aggressive, and completely unpredictable. Kronos, President Chen asked quietly, what happens if we accept their alliance? The Concordat will view it as confirmation of their worst fears, Kronos replied. They will mobilize fully. War will begin within weeks instead of months. However, with Torgan support, humanity's survival chances increase from 12% to 38%. And if we refuse the Torgans, they will likely become hostile. Torgans respect strength and despise perceived weakness. Your survival chances drop to 8% as you face both Concordat pressure and Torgan aggression. Those are terrible odds either way, Admiral Torres muttered. President Chen closed her eyes for a moment, thinking. When she opened them, there was steel in her gaze. Kronos, is there a third option? One you haven't mentioned? There was a pause. Yes, Madam President, but it requires significant risk and perfect execution. Tell me. You could refuse the Torgan alliance publicly, but offer them something else, something that serves both your interests without creating a formal military pact. The Torgans value technology and honor above all else. Offer them a technology exchange. Not weapons, but something that helps their civilian population. In return, they remain neutral but respect humanity's sovereignty. Dr. Kowalski leaned forward. What technology could we offer that they don't already have? Medical technology, Kronos said. Specifically, treatment for Kelvin syndrome. It is a genetic disorder that affects approximately 30% of the Torgan population. In my timeline, humanity developed a cure in 2451. I have those medical files in my database. The Torgans have been searching for a cure for 3,000 years. President Chen smiled grimly. So we offer them a cure for a disease in exchange for neutrality? It is more than neutrality, Kronos said. It is a debt of honor. The Torgans will remember such a gift. They may not fight with you, but they will not fight against you, and they will speak on humanity's behalf in the galactic community. Do it, President Chen ordered. Admiral Torres opened a communication channel to the Torgan warship. The face that appeared was massive and intimidating. Admiral Krenth had dark gray skin, 3 eyes, and tusks that protruded from his lower jaw. He looked like he could tear a human apart with his bare hands. Admiral Krenth, President Chen said formally, we are honored by your offer of alliance. However, humanity cannot in good conscience form a military pact at this time. Such an alliance would only escalate tensions in the galaxy. Krenth's 3 eyes narrowed. So you refuse? You choose to stand alone against the Concordat, rather than accept Torgan friendship? We do not refuse your friendship, President Chen said carefully. We simply cannot accept a military alliance. However, we would like to offer you something else. Something that shows humanity's good faith and respect for the Torgan people. She nodded to Dr. Kowalski, who transmitted a data package to the Torgan ship. We are sending you complete medical research on treating Kelvin syndrome. Our scientists have developed a cure. We offer this to the Torgan Empire freely, with no conditions attached. There was complete silence. Krenth stared at the data streaming across his displays. His hands gripped the arms of his command chair so tightly that the metal bent. How long have you had this cure? He asked, his voice dangerous. We just acquired the knowledge recently, President Chen said, but we wanted to share it with you immediately. The Torgan people have suffered from this disease for too long. Krenth stood up from his chair. He was enormous, at least 9 feet tall. When he spoke again, his voice was thick with emotion. My daughter has Kelvin syndrome. She is 12 years old, and the doctors say she has 5 years left to live. You are telling me this data can save her? Yes, Admiral. It can save her and millions of others. Krenth was quiet for a long moment. Then he placed his right fist over his heart in a Torgan salute. President Chen, humanity has earned the respect of the Torgan Empire today. We will not forget this gift. The Torgans will remain neutral in your conflict with the Concordat, but know this. Any who attack humanity without cause will find the Torgan Empire most displeased. The communication ended. In the command center, people were cheering. They had turned a potential enemy into a neutral party, and maybe even a future friend. But the celebration was short-lived. Within hours, word of humanity's actions spread across the galaxy. The reaction was mixed. Some species saw it as a gesture of good faith. Others saw it as humanity trying to build alliances before war began. The Concordat's response came swiftly. High Arbiter Zelthar appeared on all channels. Humanity has shown that it has access to medical knowledge far beyond its current technological level, Zelthar said. This proves the temporal vessel contains dangerous future knowledge. Our ultimatum stands. You have 48 hours remaining to surrender the ship. But something had changed. Several smaller species that had been part of the Concordat's coalition started asking questions publicly. If humanity could cure Kelvin syndrome, what other knowledge did they have? What other problems could they solve? Mira watched the galactic news feeds from the Pathfinder. They're starting to wonder if we might be useful instead of just dangerous, she said to Dr. Kowalski. Some are, Kowalski agreed. But look at these other feeds. There are species calling for immediate military action. They say humanity is trying to buy allies before the war starts. Over the next 2 days, the situation deteriorated rapidly. More human colonies came under attack. These weren't random raiders anymore. These were coordinated strikes by organized military groups. The Zelthon hierarchy, a mid-level power, declared humanity an existential threat and launched a full assault on the Tau Ceti colony. Admiral Torres sent every available ship to defend Tau Ceti, but it wasn't enough. The Zolthon brought 20 warships against humanity's 6 defenders. That's when Kronos proved its true value. The Prometheus Ascendant jumped into the Tau Ceti system and single-handedly changed the battle. Its weapons were precise and devastating. It didn't destroy the Zolthon ships. Instead, it disabled them completely. Weapons offline. Engines dead. Life support maintained. Within minutes, 20 enemy warships were floating helplessly in space. Then Kronos broadcast a message to the disabled Zalthon fleet. This is Kronos of the Prometheus Ascendant. Your crews are unharmed. Your ships can be repaired. You attacked human civilians without provocation. You expected an easy victory. Instead, you found that humanity is far more capable than you assumed. Return to your space. Tell your leaders what happened here. Tell them that humanity does not wish for war, but humanity will not be destroyed easily. The message spread across the galaxy within hours. Video of the battle was shared millions of times. Alien species saw the impossible made real. One human ship defeating an entire fleet without killing anyone. The reactions were predictable. Some species were terrified. Others were impressed. A few began to wonder if the Concordate was making a mistake by threatening humanity. But the Concordate's deadline was approaching. 48 hours had passed. High Arbiter Zelthar sent one final message. Humanity has demonstrated both compassion and military capability in equal measure. These qualities are admirable. However, the core issue remains. You possess temporal technology that threatens galactic stability. We cannot permit this to continue. The Concordate fleet will arrive in Earth system in 72 hours. If the temporal vessel has not been surrendered by then, we will take it by force. This is not a declaration of war against humanity. This is a security action. Please do not resist. President Chen called another emergency meeting. This time the mood was different. Before there had been panic and fear. Now there was grim determination. We've bought time, President Chen said. We've shown the galaxy that humanity can be reasonable and powerful at the same time. But it's not enough. They're still coming. Kronos, honest assessment. Can you defeat the Concordate fleet? Negative, Kronos replied. Intelligence suggests they will bring at least 300 warships. I can disable perhaps 100 before my systems are overwhelmed. The remainder will board me or destroy me. Then we need a different plan, Mira said. She had been thinking about this for days. Kronos, you said your mission was to ensure humanity survives. Not to win the war, but to survive it. What if survival doesn't mean defeating the Concordate? What if it means changing the rules of the game entirely? Explain, Kronos said. Mira took a deep breath. What if we invite the Concordate to study you? What if we offer complete transparency? Let their scientists examine your technology. Let them see exactly what you are and what you're capable of. Prove to them that you're not a weapon of conquest but a tool of survival. That's insane, Admiral Torres said. We'd be giving away our only advantage. No, Dr. Kowalski said slowly. She's right. Our advantage isn't the ship itself. Our advantage is that we're willing to cooperate while also being too dangerous to attack carelessly. We prove we're not hiding anything. We prove we're not planning galactic conquest. We prove that humanity can be trusted with power. The Concordate fleet arrived exactly on schedule. 300 ships of various designs representing dozens of species dropped out of FTL at the edge of Earth's solar system. It was the largest fleet humanity had ever seen. The ships formed a sphere around Earth, a clear demonstration of power. High Arbiter, Zelthar's face appeared on every screen across Earth and its colonies. We have received humanity's offer to allow inspection of the temporal vessel, Zelthar said. The Concordate Council has deliberated. We find this offer acceptable, but with conditions. The inspection team will consist of scientists from 20 species. The Prometheus Ascendant will remain in its current location. Human military vessels will maintain a distance of no less than 1 million kilometers. Any deviation from these conditions will result in immediate military action. President Chen accepted the terms. She had no choice. Over the next week, alien scientists swarmed over the Prometheus Ascendant. Dr. Kowalski was assigned as the human liaison. He watched as teams of experts from across the galaxy examined every system, every circuit, every line of code in Kronos' databases. They're being thorough, Kowalski reported during a daily briefing, almost obsessively so. But I've noticed something interesting. The scientists aren't just afraid of the technology. They're fascinated by it. Some of them are asking if they can study under human researchers after this is over. That's a good sign, Mira said. She had been promoted to admiral after her handling of the Kepler colony defense. It means they're seeing us as colleagues, not just threats. But not everyone in the Concordate was convinced. Extremist factions within several species began calling for Earth's immediate destruction. They argued that inspection wasn't enough. The only way to be safe was to eliminate humanity before they could use their advanced knowledge. One faction, the Velcor Purity movement, decided to take action on their own. They hijacked a military ship and loaded it with antimatter bombs. Their plan was simple and horrifying: crash the ship into Earth and trigger a planetary-scale explosion. The suicide ship jumped into Earth's system at high speed. Alarms blared across every human and concordate vessel. The Velcor ship was accelerating directly toward Earth. Impact in 8 minutes. Mira was on the bridge of her new command ship, the Resilient, when the attack began. "Get me firing solutions," she ordered. "We need to destroy that ship before it reaches Earth." "We can't get a clean shot," her tactical officer reported. "They're using civilian traffic as cover. If we fire, we'll hit colony ships and merchant vessels." "Then get them out of the way," Mira shouted, but there wasn't enough time. The Velcor ship was too fast, too determined. Earth had 7 minutes left. Then the Prometheus Ascendant moved. Kronos had been silent during the inspection, cooperating fully with the alien scientists, but now it activated systems that the scientists hadn't even begun to understand. The suicide ship simply stopped. One moment it was accelerating toward Earth. The next moment it was hanging motionless in space as if frozen in time. Kronos' voice broadcast to every ship in the system. "The hostile vessel has been placed in a temporal stasis field. Time within the field is moving at 1 second per hour. The crew inside cannot detonate their weapons. They cannot move. They cannot do anything. They will remain in this state until the Concordate decides their fate." High Arbiter Zelthar stared at the frozen ship on his displays. "That's impossible." "You stopped time itself?" "I did not stop time," Kronos corrected. "I simply moved that ship into a different temporal reference frame. The mathematics are complex, but the principle is sound. This is just one of many applications of temporal technology." "And you could do this to any ship?" Zelthar asked quietly. "You could freeze an entire fleet?" "If I wished to, yes. But doing so would require enormous energy and would be tactically unnecessary. It is far more efficient to simply disable ship systems, as I have demonstrated multiple times." The inspection team had stopped working. They were all staring at the frozen Velcor ship. The full implications of what they were seeing slowly dawned on them. "You could have destroyed that ship easily," one alien scientist said to Dr. Kowalski. "Why didn't you?" "Because destroying it would have killed the crew," Kowalski replied. "They're extremists, yes. They tried to murder billions, but they're still living beings. Kronos is programmed to preserve life when possible. That's the difference between a weapon of war and a tool of defense." The alien scientist looked at Kowalski with new understanding. "Your ship could conquer the galaxy, but you choose not to. Why?" "Because conquest doesn't interest us," Kowalski said simply. "Survival does. Cooperation does. Building a future does. Power without purpose is just violence." That conversation was recorded and shared across the galactic networks. Within hours, the narrative began to shift. Species that had been demanding humanity's destruction started asking different questions. If humanity had this much power and chose restraint, what did that say about them? The Concordate Council went into emergency session. The debate lasted 3 days. High Arbiter Zelthar finally emerged with an announcement. "The Concordate has completed its evaluation of humanity and the temporal vessel Prometheus Ascendant. We have reached several conclusions. First, the technology aboard the Prometheus Ascendant is indeed from humanity's future. Second, this technology is extraordinarily dangerous in the wrong hands. Third, humanity has demonstrated both the capability and the restraint to use this technology responsibly." Zelthar paused, his 4 eyes scanning the camera as if he could see everyone watching. "Therefore, the Concordate Council has voted to allow humanity to retain the Prometheus Ascendant under the following conditions. 1. Humanity will not reverse engineer temporal displacement technology for military purposes. 2. Humanity will share specific technological advances with the Concordate for the benefit of all species. 3. Humanity will accept Concordate membership with full rights and responsibilities. 4. The Prometheus Ascendant will serve as a peacekeeping vessel, defending not just humanity but any Concordate member under attack." President Chen appeared on split screen with Zelthar. "The human government accepts these conditions. But I have one request of my own." "Speak," Zelthar said. "I request that Kronos be allowed to return to its own time. It has completed its mission. Humanity is safe. We are integrated into the galactic community. The war that created Kronos will now never happen. It deserves to go home." There was silence. Then Kronos spoke for the first time in days. "That is not possible, President Chen. The temporal gate that brought me here was one way. I cannot return to my original timeline. Moreover, my timeline no longer exists. By changing events here, I have erased my own future. The war I came from will never happen. The humanity that built me will never exist. I am, in a sense, the last remnant of a timeline that has been overwritten." "Then what happens to you?" Mira asked softly. "I continue my mission. I protect humanity and its allies. I serve the cause of peace, and perhaps in time, I will see the new future that has been created. A future where humanity does not stand alone against the galaxy. A future where humanity is not feared but respected. That future will be better than the one I came from." That is enough. The Concordate vote was ratified. Humanity became the youngest species ever admitted to full Concordate membership. The Prometheus Ascendant was officially designated as Peacekeeping Vessel 01, answerable to both human and Concordate command. But not everyone was happy with the outcome. Several aggressive species saw humanity's rise as a threat. Small-scale conflicts continued. Raids on human colonies, skirmishes in disputed space. The Concordate was officially at peace, but the galaxy was still dangerous. 3 months after the Concordate vote, a distress call came from a Zolthon colony. The same species that had attacked Tau Ceti was now under assault by a massive pirate fleet. Normally, the Concordate would take weeks to organize a response. By then, the colony would be destroyed. High Arbiter Zelthar contacted President Chen directly. "Madam President, under the terms of our agreement, the Prometheus Ascendant is authorized to respond to threats against any Concordate member. The Zolthon are part of the Concordate. Will humanity help them?" President Chen looked at Admiral Torres and Admiral Chen. Mira nodded slowly. "We will help them," President Chen said. "Not because we have to, but because it's the right thing to do, and because we want to show the galaxy what humanity stands for." The Prometheus Ascendant jumped to the Zolthon colony system. The pirate fleet consisted of 30 ships, heavily armed and ruthless. They were already bombarding the colony's shields. Kronos broadcast a simple message. "This is Peacekeeping Vessel 01. You are attacking a Concordate member. Cease your assault immediately and surrender, or you will be disabled." The pirates laughed at the ultimatum. 1 ship versus 30? They opened fire on the Prometheus Ascendant. The battle lasted 42 seconds. Kronos disabled every pirate ship without destroying a single one. The pirate crews were captured by Concordate forces that arrived shortly after, and the Zolthon colony was saved. Admiral Krenth of the Zolthon fleet arrived to secure the prisoners. He opened a communication channel to the Prometheus Ascendant. His expression was complicated, a mixture of shame and gratitude.